Guys, today we have a guest straight from Hong Kong, and his name is Andy Tsz Chiu Chan. So, Andy is an established fitness educator and presenter that has collaborated with Nike, Clearwater Bay Golf Club, and plenty other publicly listed companies. So, hi, Andy. Good to have you here on my show.
Hey, pleasure to be here, man.
So, Andy, how often should we work out actually? Like, is it bad to work out every day or like pulling weights? What I'm trying to say that is there any rule of thumb that we need to go for it?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I would say the general guideline is 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week.
All right.
So what that would mean is ideally you have 3 to 4 moderate intensity workout sessions per week in order to get the adequate amount of working out.
Oh, it's long, man. So, can you tell us, yeah, can you please tell us what are the approaches we can have, for home workout actually?
Yeah, I think that's a great question as well because nowadays 2020, I think the eroding barrier between work and home life, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's detrimental to health, yeah. And I think that the goal, it should be, if you think about our life currently, I think we're under a lot of stress. I think a lot of people are stuck at home. So for me personally, I always tell my clients, let's just find 10 to 15 minutes a day just to perhaps, if you're able to, go outside for a jog. Because if we start small every day, it's a lot easier than just, hey, let's do an hour today, So for me, home workout, I would say let's start 10 to 15 minutes a day. And then if we get into the habit, then we work our way up.
All right, man. I think that's cool. During this pandemic, actually, things are not working out. People doesn't go to gym as much as possible. So I think home workout is the only way out for now. Yeah. So I heard a term called, beating a plateau actually. So a plateau happens when our body becomes accustomed to our training and we stop seeing results. So how do we do that? How do we beat that plateau?
Sure. That question comes up a lot because especially when people go on diets or when people try out different exercise routines, typically what the research has shown is you will see a lot of results within the first 4 to 6 weeks. And what research tells us is that our bodies adapts to a certain stimulus perhaps after 6 weeks. So that would explain why perhaps sometimes if you go on a diet or if you go working out, after 6 weeks, which is about a month and a half, start seeing that plateau. So from an exercise perspective, we would say that ideally every 6 to 8 weeks, you switch it up a little bit. So what does that look like, right?
Yeah.
If I'm doing an exercise, let's say for 15 reps, like let's say 15 repetitions. Okay. Well, perhaps after two months, perhaps you should switch it up to 10 reps and do more sets, for example. So we can change different variables so that to make our workout more entertaining. And as a result, we'll avoid plateau if we kind of have these undulations or we have these changes periodically.
Okay. So, there is also a term I have, so like intensity to a workout and what are the benefits of that? So how we can add intensity to our workout actually, and what could be the benefits of that?
Sure. I think if we think about intensity, I think we can think of it in 2 ways. Number one, subjective, and number two, objective. So subjective, it just means it's a feeling, right? I could be feeling like this is a very intense workout because it is subject to my feelings.
Yeah.
Objective, on the other hand, is based on things that you can measure, your heart rate or your blood pressure and stuff like that. So I would say if you want to add some intensity, if you don't have the fancy equipment, then perhaps we can go by subjective measure. And to increase the intensity of that, all you have to do is if you walk, then walk faster, right? If you are doing some squats, then do heavier squats or faster squats. So I would say to increase intensity, it just depends on how you want to do it.
Yeah, man. Cool. So see, as you can see in my other videos actually, about mental health actually, right? So how workouts help us to reduce the stress, anxiety, those kind of things.
Sure. I think mental health has been such a big topic, right? Nowadays, we're consumed by a lot of stimuluses. What we always say is I'm in front of a computer, or not me, but people are typically in front of a computer for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then they're on these social media breaks, which is more stimulus.
Exactly.
And then they get on this guilt trip because, nowadays you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I've been sitting at home for 10 hours and I feel terrible about my body. So psychologically, I feel like I have to work out. And this is where it gets dangerous, because I think this is where we fall into the trap of working out because we feel bad. So as a result, we are going intense. But if we have the wrong motive, then I doubt that we can actually enjoy working out. So I guess it's this question. I would say in order to make it to that intensity, in order to see the effects, we first have to know that we work out to relax. We don't work out because we're fat. We don't work out because we need it, right? We work out because it is fun. So I would say if you have that mentality, then things will become easier. And I think you actually see the psychological benefits, or else all of them are just talk, in my opinion. And you never want working out to be a pressure. You want it to be something that's enjoyable and something that's fruitful.
See, suppose a man haven't done, workout, in a single day in his entire life, actually. So what could be the 5 steps he can do to start doing workout right now,
Yeah. I would say number 1, work on his breathing, because on the topic of mental health, well, we know that mental health and physical health goes hand to hand. And nowadays, people are this mindfulness or this meditation or these different breathing practices people are doing all over the world, and people are seeing amazing benefits. And I would say if we have to pick 5 things, that's number 1, breathing, just to calm us down. And number 2, my focus will always be doing stretches. Because we're always stuck in a position, and if we are stuck in this position the whole day, which we are, because we're computer, phone, eating, working, watching TV, watching Netflix, we're here. So I would say what we should do is think about doing stretches that can open up the front side of my chest, because we tend to be collapsed, right? So if I can do some stretches that opens up the front side of my body will thank me for that in the long run. So these 2 things, I would say definitely do them every single day. And then after these, we can work on moving better. But I would say all these are built upon the fact that we can breathe and we can stretch. And I'll say those 2 things are my top priorities.
Yeah, man, they're definitely helpful, actually, So, all right, let's turn the page around right now to know the business aspect of this fitness industry. All right. So, fitness market is booming around the globe, and United States itself has $30 billion industry and still increasing, right? So what's driving this historic boom, actually? With all these apps having these fitness trackers, workout apps, meditation, mindfulness, and the list goes on, right? So what's driving this historic boom?
Yeah, number one, I think that people realize that there's so much more to fitness than what you see in the 80s and 90s. So back in the day, if you go into a gym, all you think of are these gigantic muscle men, these incredible hulks, because they have such big chests, and they walk around like they're the biggest guy on earth. But I would say nowadays, people realize that there's a lot in sports science. So for example, all these tracker apps, they realize, actually I can measure my heart rate, and that tells me a lot of things. And with all the advancement in exercise science, all the recovery, like the massage guns and stuff. And what I would say is people realize that working out could be a science. But with that said, I do think a lot of people are abusing this science, because with the billions of products out there, I would say that, sure, there are a lot of them that are genuine, but at the same time, I think a lot of people are selling hope, essentially, right? Because I think, sorry to go off a tangent, but sometimes on the business side, I once learned in business school that you got to know what you're selling. Exactly. And I think we would all agree that sometimes certain fitness brands, they are there to sell you hope. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to sell you this 6-week plan, and in 6 weeks, you're going to get a 6-pack, and in 6 weeks, you're going to see this amazing transformation. And to me, those type of companies are selling hope, and hope can drive a lot of actions on the business side. So I would say two things. Number one, there's plenty of research to support different devices. Number two, people are selling hope.
See, I can see plenty of advertisement around in the YouTube or TV itself, like people selling this kind of plan. Like in 7 days, you can have 7 packs or 8 packs. I don't even know how much. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
10 packs.
Yeah, man. All right. So if someone wants to be a part of this industry, and so I want to know, if I want to be a part of the industry, how will I be, stand out? How will I be different from the others actually?
Sure, I think that's a great question, and that's a question I get asked a lot. To be honest with you, getting into the fitness industry is not difficult. There are plenty of certifications out there, so really anyone could become a certified trainer. Yeah. But what I would say, in order to stand out, you have to know what you can offer. Like any businesses, right? You have to differentiate yourself from other people. It's like your YouTube channel. You have to offer something that's different so that some people will watch you. And I'll say that's the same in fitness. You will have different focuses and you have different skill sets that can separate you from others. So for me, you have to go on that path to discover what you're good at, what you're not, and then kind of magnify what you're good at, if you will, because that's what people are gonna come to you for.
Exactly, man. All right, so I think we are in the last phase of this discussion, and the last hurdle, the last question would be, the fitness industry is full of, with big personalities, right? Like the coaches, the trainers with charisma. So we can assume like you need to be eccentric or, extroverted to be successful in this industry. So I really want to know, is that really true?
Wow. Hey, spot on. I love that. This is the last question because I think this is such a deep question, right? Deep question of life. And, to answer your question, I need to share a book that I really enjoyed reading a couple years ago. It's called Quiet by Susan Cain.
All right.
And it's a best-selling book. And basically the premise of the book, or the whole idea, is that she called introversion a superpower. Because what she said is that in the Western culture, in America, if you will, people value extroversion. People value ideas, right? You should always participate. You should always talk more. You should be full of charisma, and you only get that by talking a lot. And what she pointed out in the book is that the danger of that is you don't listen. And what she finds is that introverts, they tend to listen more, and they tend to have better ideas because they have ideas, but they might just not express it. But they have the ideas because they think a lot, and they're okay not to socialize. And for me, that's changed me a lot because most people would associate fitness trainers as super high energy. Hey, come on, 2 more reps, you can do this, I believe in you, all those stuff.
Exactly.
But after reading that, I was like, hey, actually, in an extroverted industry, perhaps I can be the difference in that I could be the listener.
Exactly.
And then I did different seminars, and I realized there are a lot of trainers who are great listeners and who went on to become super successful and well-known fitness instructors and educators. So at that point, I was like, hey, I'm gonna try my best to become the best listener that I could be, so that ultimately, as a fitness instructor, we are paid to journey with people. Sure, there'll be times when I have to deliver a workshop. I'll have to talk for 9 to 10 hours a day. But I would say if I'm working with someone one-to-one, then I'm going to try my best to be that authentic me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to give them my 100% effort to listen and to ask great questions and just to be with them. And I would say for me, that has been a game changer. And people do appreciate your sincerity, and people do appreciate people who are genuine. And so I would say, rather than being someone that I'm not, which is the super, hey, I good to see you, I buddy type person, I'm happy and comfortable being that real me, which is not always the most energetic, but I do care and I am enthusiastic when working with different people. So long story short, I guess I've been on a long discovery journey to come to accept who I am, but that has helped me a lot.
I think that is really wonderful. So the book you have referred, right? What was the name again? Quiet. So I think,
Quiet. Yeah.
yeah, Quiet. So I will definitely recommend other people to read that book. And the things you have said this will really help our viewers and my channel is based on mental health most of the part, right, until now, and people will get through that too. All right. So I think this was it. Thank you for coming to my show, and this was a pleasure actually. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you so much for having me, man.